What would you do if following God meant facing death? No escape, no second chances, just you and a den full of lions. Would your faith still stand when survival is no longer guaranteed? Because this is exactly where Daniel found himself. Daniel wasn't always standing in front of lions. He was a man of excellence, respected, trusted, elevated. In a foreign land, serving under a powerful king, Daniel had something rare: integrity. But what set him apart also made him a target. And what happened next would test his faith like never before. Daniel served under King Darius, and out of all the leaders in the kingdom, he stood above them. Not because he was loud, not because he fought for attention, but because God was with him. The Bible says, "Then this Daniel distinguished himself because an excellent spirit was in him." Daniel 6:3. And that's when the problem began: jealousy. The other officials couldn't stand him. They searched for something, anything to use against him. But they found nothing. No corruption, no shortcuts, no compromise. So they did something dangerous. They turned his strength into a trap. If we can't find fault in him, we'll create it. They knew Daniel's weakness, not sin, not pride, but his devotion to God. So they manipulated the king. They proposed a law. No one can pray to any god or man except the king for 30 days. And King Darius, blinded by pride, signed it. A law that could not be changed. Now think about this. Daniel had a choice: stay silent or stay faithful, hide his prayer or risk his life. What would you do? The moment had come. Daniel went home, opened his windows, facing Jerusalem, and prayed. Not secretly, not fearfully, but just as he always had. 3 times a day he got down on his knees and prayed. Daniel 6:10. He didn't panic. He didn't negotiate. He didn't compromise. Because some things are more important than survival. And in that moment, Daniel chose God over safety. They caught him, just as they planned. They rushed to the king. "Daniel has broken your law." And suddenly, the king realized he had been used. He tried everything to save Daniel, but the law was sealed. And as the sun began to set, Daniel was taken. Not to a courtroom, not to a prison, but to a den full of lions. Picture it. The stone is rolled away. The smell of death fills the air. Lions pacing, eyes glowing in the dark, hungry, waiting. Daniel stands at the edge. No weapon, no defense, just faith. The king speaks with a trembling voice. "May your God, whom you serve continually, rescue you." And then Daniel is thrown in. The stone is sealed. Darkness, silence. But what happened next changed everything. Morning came. The king couldn't sleep all night. No music, no peace. At dawn, he ran to the den. "Daniel, servant of the living God, has your God rescued you?" Silence. Then a voice, strong, calm, alive. "My God sent his angel, and he shut the mouths of the lions." Daniel 6:22. Daniel was untouched. No wounds, no fear, because God had been with him in the dark. Maybe you're not facing lions, but you're facing something. Pressure, fear, uncertainty. A situation where doing the right thing feels risky. Maybe you've been tempted to compromise, to stay quiet, to blend in. But Daniel's story reminds us, God doesn't always keep you from the den, but He will meet you inside it. Your trial is not your end. Your pressure is not your defeat. Because the same God who shut the lions' mouths is still able today. So the question is, will you stay faithful even when it's hard? Daniel didn't know how the story would end. He just knew who God was. And sometimes that's all you need. If this message spoke to you, take a moment, reflect, and ask yourself, where is God calling me to stand firm? Because your faith might just be one decision away from a miracle. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this message with someone who needs it. And remember, God is still in the den.